It was announced just a few months ago that Stellantis brand Opel is heavily interested in joining Formula E, if not next season, then with the advent of the Gen 4 car in Season 13. In today's video, we're going full Tomo F1. I'll be discussing some of the context of Opel's entry into Formula E, we'll be speculating about the drivers potentially on their radar, and then we'll get creative and design some race suits, as well as ending with a concept livery. So for starters, a bit of a confession. As an American, I don't think I've ever actually seen an Opel before, but as it turns out, Opel has quite a history in motorsports. They competed in the World Rally Championship, winning the title in 1982, they've won titles in DTM and the German Super Touring Series, and even won the 24 Hours of Nürburgring back in 2003. But like a lot of brands, they've been looking towards electrification in the recent years. They run the ADAC Opel Electric Rally Cup, in which they race the electric Opel Corsa, and recently unveiled the Opel Mokka. This is where we come to Formula E. They became part of the Stellantis group in 2021, who currently field teams in DS Penske and Maserati MSG. Currently, their teams are in a bit of an unstable place. Maserati MSG is on the brink of financial collapse after a planned buyout fell through, and as for DS Penske, their partnership with the Penske group isn't likely to continue into the Gen 4 era. So Stellantis has been looking for areas to continue their involvement in Formula E, if its financial situation allows for it, that is. And quite a few options have come to the forefront. One would be to rebrand the Maserati team, but according to recent rumors, that honor may go to Citroën. That would be a fun video too, so let me know if you'd like to see me take that challenge on. For Opel, the two most realistic options seem to be taking over the Ian James-led ex-McLaren team, or opening up a 12th grid slot at the start of the Gen 4 era with full Stellantis support. Stellantis has never really had a whole Formula E team of their own, rather partnering with entities like the MSG Group, Techeetah, Virgin, and Penske, so this would finally allow them to have total control over the program. For the purposes of today's video, I'll be looking at what Opel's program could look like as a standalone team. The primary difference will be the addition or subtraction of various other sponsors, depending on if it's a continuation of Maserati, or a purchasing of McLaren, or a relocation of all their funds from DS Penske. But keep in mind, the team I'm talking about today will probably jump in at the start of the Gen 4 era, so Season 13. Either way, I'll be designing on the Gen 3 Evo because none of us really know what the Gen 4 looks like yet. Who are the drivers that have been rumored to jump to Opel? Well, obviously, we can look at Stellantis' current pool of drivers, Jean-Eric Vergne and Maximilian Gunther at DS, and Stoffel Vandoorne and Jake Hughes at Maserati. But one additional name has been rumored to join this list in recent months, and is probably the sport's biggest free agent right now, Nick Cassidy. Jumping over from Jaguar, if he is to join the Stellantis group, he'll likely spend a season at Maserati before, quote, spearheading Opel's entry into Formula E for Gen 4. This, of course, means axing a driver from their current pool, and unfortunately, it's looking like Jake Hughes could be the odd man out. But if Opel is to become Stellantis' fully fledged factory team into the Gen 4 era, who will be the driver to partner him? In my opinion, the battle is between the two DS drivers, Maximilian Gunther and Jean-Eric Vergne. And if you ask me, I think Vergne is more likely to get the nod, simply because of his Peugeot hypercar connections. While Gunther may be the quicker driver right now, although I think that is debatable as well, it doesn't seem like he's as tied up with Stellantis as Vergne is, who's been a part of DS for almost 10 years and is still an incredibly quick driver. While veterans such as Buemi and Degrassi have seemed to lose their edge a bit, Vergne is still up there competing for podiums and the odd race win. Gunther, meanwhile, doesn't seem as tied to manufacturer commitments, as he's flitted from BMW to Nissan to Maserati without much concern, so he could easily be off with the Penske side of the team when they join up with Porsche or whatever their plan is for the Gen 4 era. And thus, if Opel is to replace DS in terms of the number one Stellantis team, I'm predicting an all-star lineup of Jean-Eric Vergne and Nick Cassidy. So, in terms of a race suit, I've gone with a base black with white and fluorescent yellow accents. I've taken a bit of inspiration from the 2020 Renault F1 suits, with the translucent logos there on the driver's left, our right, sort of faded into the black, but aside from that, the suit is generally pretty simple and gets the point across. I've also gone for Alpine Stars as the suit provider, as they currently do for DS Penske and have done for DS Techeetah and DS Virgin back in the day. But keep in mind, this is another thing that may change if the team takes over Maserati, for example, who seem to have a deal with OMP right now. And finally, after much anticipation, let's have a look at the last element of this video, and the one I've spent the most time on. So last but not least, here is the livery I've designed up for the Opel Formula E team. Yes, it's a little simple, but this is my first time working with a Gen 3 Evo and this model, and if you've designed on an open wheel car before, you'll know that the paint templates are pretty shocking to work with. But my primary inspiration here was some of Opel's electric rally cars they've showcased, which are mainly base white or gray with black and yellow accents here and there. And let's be real, there are very few teams in Formula E nowadays that go all out with a crazy livery. I didn't really want to take away from Kiro with an all-out fluoro yellow livery either. This one's white-based, but I think it's different enough from what Andretti is doing to be easily distinguishable on the racetrack. It's just meant to be clean and really emphasize the Opel brand. I really love how this part in particular came out with the lightning bolts and the Opel text on the top of, I guess you can say, the side pods here, although they aren't really side pods. Speaking of the side, I've given some attention to GSE, which I believe is Opel's high-performance division that focuses on their hybrid and electric cars. So I'd probably consider this to be like the Opel GSE1 if we're getting into the technical car name. Outside of that, I've put Total Energies on here in a prominent role. They're super involved with Opel as well as the DS team in Formula E, so I thought they'd be on board with the program. Other Stellantis partners such as Yahoo and Ciensko are also present, but keep in mind all of that could be incredibly fluid depending on which team Opel actually takes over for, as we've gone through in this video already. So that was my take on the Opel Formula E team. What do you think, first and foremost, of the things I've designed here, the livery, the race suits, as well as the concept in and of itself? I know Stellantis' situation in Formula E right now is incredibly unstable, and they could be going anywhere from having one team to having 3 teams. So really, this is all a shot in the dark based off of what we know right now, and it could change next week. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you think about all this. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what other teams you guys would like to see in the comments section done in this style of video, and I'll see you all in the next one.